Welcome back, friends. Hello. Very abrupt, but we are back here on the stream. And just as you saw, we just had a match end, but we're not going to talk about the G2 Koi here because we are on stream A currently. We're going to set you up for our second matchup because we have a schedule to stick to here. So welcome back to the Analyst Desk, the Command Center, as we like to call it. I'm Medic, your host. With me on the desk, as we've had earlier today, are Mandy and James. How you guys doing?
Excellently. I had sushi for lunch and now I'm ready to talk about some games.
Yeah, I'm doing good as well. I went for lunch with you, actually.
Yeah.
That was nice.
It was pretty nice.
That's my invite.
Well, you went away with Emmy.
Okay.
Okay? Thank you very much.
It's fine.
Anyways, not to spill any tea or anything, but moving on, MNM versus Wolves is up next for us. And we just went through an EU matchup that just ended for the G2 win. Now we have to go through MNM and Wolves. And let's bring up Wolves first and have a chat about them and see what they would have to offer in this game. The permanent quarterfinalists, some people would say, but Wolves are looking to break that. But first, they have to go through things here in the first stage of the groups. James, what can you tell us about one of the best teams in Europe?
Oh, they are certainly one of the best teams in Europe, but they struggle consistently to break through in those international events and in those BO3s. They've made it to every single major this year, but they haven't won a single playoffs game in any of them. This is, of course, their first Six Invitational, which is quite something considering how much of a reputation Wolves have now gained for themselves. This is a real breakthrough moment for them. They're looking to finally take on a best of three. They're going up against one of their close rivals from Europe as well to do it. I think they have a good shot, but it certainly won't be easy. This team can't seem to shake the jitters.
Look, you say that, this is first invitational, but Bibo and Rise have been around a million years.
Yeah, and in fact, two of the most... well, Rise is actually the oldest player at this entire tournament.
True.
Unfortunately for him, MV Taylor didn't make it, so he does take the candle there. And both him and Bibu, some of the most experienced players in the game.
That's true. Well, we'll talk about that in more, but we have to put up their opponents on the board. MNM Gaming. Interview with Wolves. There you go. That's very good.
My name is Rise. I play for Wolves Esports, and I'm IGL and the flex player of the team. So we're in Group B. I think it's a balanced group. There is really good teams in it, but I think we're part of these good teams. I expect a great match against Team Liquid, and actually I'm really eager to see what Phoenix has in store for us. So it's an exciting group for us. Well, the team we're looking to play the most at this SI is probably Team Liquid because of the previous performance, and also MNM because they're a team from our region, and we have passed with them. They beat us last time, so we are really looking to start this tournament the best way possible. Well, the preparation for the Six Invitational is obviously the best preparation we've ever had. Everybody wants to win it, so we had to put the extra work for it. Our expectation for the SI is definitely a deep run. I think we've always had the potential to go deep in tournaments, and now it's time to prove it. So I've got a message for the MNM boys. It doesn't matter what time we will face against each other, we'll bring you down.
Well, thankfully for MNM at least, they are not starting too early today. But to close things out on Wolves, Mandy, what would you like to say about them?
Wolves, I think, yeah, this is their deep run. I think Rise actually just wrote the story for us in that interview. For them, they need to push past that quarterfinal stage if they can. They've been around for so long. Every single stage they improve. They've gone from being 8th place, 8th, 9th in EU, then 5th, 6th. Then they were consistently 1st and 2nd, and now they're consistently at international events. It's then about being consistently at the top of every international event, right? That's the next step for them.
Well, now to introduce their opponents, to fix what Milos 2 minutes ago made, it's MNM Gaming. MNM Gaming, Molotovs and Marshmallows. Will they be set alight in this tournament or not? They played SI last year. Mandy, I turn to you. How do they look like going into SI 23?
I think they look good. I've got a lot of anticipation for MNM. They're a team that's very present internationally, actually quite similar to Wolves as well. They're often here at these international events, but can they actually show up? Not as of recent history. They've really struggled to break through into that playoff stage. So while Wolves are, in my opinion, a little bit of a step ahead, Wolves are trying to break through the semi-final stage. MNM are just trying to break out of groups at the moment. So I anticipate for MNM, with their change that has just come through as well, they're looking to revamp the roster, inject a little bit of new blood into it. And I think as a result, yeah, I'm really excited to see what they can bring into the lobby, because the MNM of old, I don't think is here this time.
Well, let's see if MNM have any fighting words to Wolf. Let's see what they have to say in their interview.
My name is Usus. I play for MNM Gaming and I play Flex. We're in Group B with Wolves, Dire Wolves, Liquid and Sonics. And we're just going to focus on ourselves, not who's in our group at this event. I'm looking forward to playing against G2 the most, so I can play against Doki-san, assuming they get out of the group, which I don't think they will. Our expectations with this SI, I think, to win, because why else would you even bother trying to come? If you're not first, you're last as well. The past year's been good, I think. If you told us at the start of the year we'd be at 2 majors and the SI, I think we'd all be happy with that. We made one roster change. We replaced Neo for Nathan, which I think was a good move. Obviously, we need to see how it ends up playing out. But he brings more to the team in terms of comms, and outside the game, I think he brings more as well, like strats and ideas and stuff like that. My message to everyone at the SI is to have fun.
Thank you very much, users, for that. And I really like the Lunar New Year vibe that's got going on also. But to wrap it up for MNM, James, do you feel they got it to actually get to the quarterfinals?
I don't know. Quarterfinals, that's pretty ambitious. Look, these guys are consistently here at these international events, but they are consistently unable to break through to that quarterfinals, to those playoffs. They haven't made it to the playoffs either at SI last year or 2 of the majors that they went to. But of course, they are going up against Wolves. And recently, these 2 teams played in EU World Finals. MNM won 2-0, so it's a real grudge match for Wolves. I think MNM might have it.
Look, I think I'm going to go ahead with the pumpkin spice latte of takes, which is both of these teams suck at best of 3s.
Oh.
They always get to quarterfinals, and then that's really come close to it. Whenever there's a big match, they falter. So I really just want to see just better performance from both of these 2. That's why I called it that way. What can I say?
You didn't have to slap the facts like that, no?
Look, for one thing, I want to make it actually work and actually say something, poignant. But our maps for this series, again, a 9-map pool, 4 bands, then 2 picks, 2 bands, and 1 decider. They'll be on the screen in just a sec, and here it is. First pick, that's MNM. They'll take us to Chalet. They start off on the attack. Clubhouse second, that's Wolves' pick. They start off on the attack, of course, and then our decider after Wolves' ban. General take on this, James. Thoughts?
So I was a bit uncertain of what we would see picked out by Wolves. It turns out it is the Clubhouse. Now, they've won this twice and lost it twice in recent history, and while they don't really ban it very much, it seems to be one that they have a lot of close games on. For example, they beat Mirage 8-7 at the Yonchiping Major. They did take down FaZe Clan as well at the same event, but they've had some losses. I think that one, hopefully, like you've been alluding to, Mandy, they've been working on things behind the scenes. But the really exciting one for me is this Chalet. Wolves are a very good Chalet team, but MNM love Chalet. I think at one point last year, before the Yonchiping Major, they were on a 15-match winning streak on Chalet. So a huge map for MNM, but a big opportunity for the Wolves to upset on MNM's favorite map.
I think that this veto phase kind of tells the tale of the philosophy of the 2 teams. MNM, they're a team that they don't change a whole lot. They're in their ways, they like how they do things, and they like their culture. They're going back to Chalet. This is an iconic map for MNM. They have a crazy win streak on it. They've got loads. Their win percentage on this map is insane. For Wolves, I think their philosophy is slightly different. They're a team that is keen to learn new things. They do have their way of playing games, but I think in this big break that they've had, they've been able to expand their map pool a lot more. And I think just this veto in itself will tell a tale between these 2 teams.
Who takes it? Name and score.
I'm going MNM. I'm going to go 2-1.
All right,
I'm
Mandy.
actually going to go Wolves because I feel like they've expanded their map pool more than MNM have. I think they're expecting MNM to go Chalet here, and it just feels like Wolves are a little bit more ready for their opponents.
All right, friends, thank you very much. We are all ready to go. As you see, the players are loading in, so we'll toss it to our casters. Intero and Pengu, take it away.
Thank you so very much to the desk, and welcome everybody to our very first day of the Six Invitational. We're on match number 2. Things are a little different. We're not doing best of 1s, we're doing best of 3s. So if you like Wolves, you like MNM Gaming, and you like competitive matchups, Nick, today's the day for you. This is Group B.
Yes.
5 teams in this group. Don't get confused here. Wolves, as you see on your screen at this exact moment. Dire Wolves from APAC. MNM Gaming on your screen this exact moment. Also from Europe, Team Liquid and Sonics. We're going to start off in Europe with 2 European teams.
How nice.
In Chalet.
Yeah. And I think Chalet as a map is actually a great place to start for any team, but in particular for Wolves and MNM. And Mandy and Dev, they spoke about how both of these teams, they like this map personally, but also just how the map fundamentally functions. You can play actively both on defense and on attack. It's somewhat strat heavy and strat reliant, but it also speaks to gunplay and coordination. So it's a great place to kind of warm up this best of 3 for both teams. And then we go to more structured maps such as Clubhouse and Kafe.
You think it's fair to say, as we watch the operator bans roll in, that there will be no shortage of Twitch bans with the changes that they made to her? Do you think that this is not an optimal operator to be removed by MNM Gaming?
I think Twitch is going to be a stable ban throughout this tournament. Solace as well is something that I expect to get banned as time progresses. Today, Solace has just kind of gone through and escaped the ban phase. I think that's going to change to come day 3 and 4 and forward.
Would you care to elaborate on that for the...
Do you want me to elaborate on it? Well, if you saw the
Oh.
earlier, Castle, bit of a target ban there. I mean, Solace is the newest operator in Rainbow Six Siege, and it's basically like an IQ on defense that can see anybody using their gadgets, people that are droning, where the drones are. And as we all know, information game is such an important thing at the competitive level of Rainbow Six Siege. So being able to shut that down, figure out where it is, and there we go, first round, Solace on the board, because it is just that good.
Yeah, what a shock. The operator being brought in, as you said, an IQ on defense, has a gadget that can see active drones, active gadgets, and then also be able to spot them for your team. She is incredibly good at the moment, and when information tends to be the name of the game, drone denial is so critical. We went through an entire year of Mute and Mozzie being the meta solely because they prevented the attackers from being able to gain information and know where best to attack from. Solace does the same thing, and while yes, technically, she is unable to shoot back when her gadget is out, you could still put it away and do some serious damage. And she doesn't exactly have a bad kit either. I know that the weapon is kind of tucked away on the 2 GIGN operators. The P90 is the SMG that you will see P4 running on Solace right now. You're going to run the MP5 if you're playing Doc and Rook most of the time. But the P90 is certainly not bad. It's just outclassed on those 2 operators. Good kit, good gadget. Solace is very flexible and is applicable on pretty much every bomb site here in Chalet.
Also worth noting now, with the extended barrel buff, essentially, it doing 15% more damage for every single bullet. Some weapons are going to see more play now than in previous patches. The P90 is one of those weapons where just getting 15% more damage throughput is going to give you a sway in some gunfights.
There's the gadget being shown off perfectly by P4, not just catching Yuzis' drone, but also where he is while on that drone. It's the same as you see from IQ. When a defender is on their phone, as you see, whether they're watching an outside cam or if they're on their drone, they're visible by those electronics. An abundance of artillery thrown in now. Mowgli being called out by the Dokkaebi. Just playing by his Kiba barrier. Yuzis, the very first kill for MNM, and the very first kill in this series. P4 is down for the count. We only got to witness a minute of that Solace on the board.
MNM are known historically for a very good team at getting opening kills, but not that great at actually converting it into a round victory, so they might have the lead right now, but historically, they throw it away shortly after.
Oh, I felt, oh man. That was, you feel the blood start to flow there. You get those little squeals? Because that was a hell of a play by Mowgli, and if I'm MNM, I'm a little unhappy with that one. Taking out 2 very serious contenders on that team, both the Dokkaebi and the Buck removed from action. Heartbreach still in the hands of Nello. as MNM have made space inside of the main lobby. Not all of them in the building just yet.
And now Wolves, I mean, you see it on your screen, they can fall back and be passively on the bomb side. 3 Toxic Babes, Yokai Jones and Pocket of Rise. They lost P4, the most active member of the squad, so to speak, but they still have a minute to go. And, you know, the attackers of MNM had to go through the map, clear out Ivy, Chimney, etc., breach open that hard wall towards the bomb side, and they don't have Dokumi to hack the phone, so that opening comes to P4, it doesn't really give them any real advantage now.
Still have secondary hard breach as well from Uzis. Zero being a very flexible operator on this map, and right now has an incredible kit, frankly. All of those Argus cams, Sam cams as they are lovingly referred to as, have been expended. As Uzis will watch the exothermic charge go off, leading into office. A long line of sight towards the B-bomb chassis, but not a lot of time to work with for this MNM attack. And Mowgli is putting in serious work. He takes 4 members of MNM down before Uzis is silenced by Bibu, and it might not have been a team effort in terms of kills. Strategy-wise, it was. Wolves will be happy with their performance in that first round.
I mean, it's no secret that Mowgli is probably the player to look at on Wolves' side here, but having such a phenomenal opening round in the very first game for his team, single-handedly turning the tide when they lost that early advantage when P4 fell as the opening death, that really sends a message to MNM. They cannot mess around, and they need to get better at converting that opening kill percentage into an actual round victory, because this is consistently a problem for them, not just for this tournament or the previous or stage 3 or 2, the entire year in domestic play of EUL, this has been their #1 enemy.
Oh, good lord. How long has it been since you and I casted together, by the way? It's been
Well, we did Young Shipping Major.
Yeah, which was
November.
November.
And then it was NAL a while before that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
NAL was in October.
Yeah.
It's good to be back, man.
It is good to be back.
Good to be back.
Not just to be back, but to be back at a place we've been before.
And it's not even us.
No,
It's nice
not
to be
even.
back from Tim being back is especially nice.
That as well.
We have had the misfortune of a number of tragic things that have happened in Rainbow Six over the last couple years, obviously, and the health concerns surrounding Tim, aka Ace of Pyrite, were added to that list and are probably some of the more recent that jump to mind. But to have him back here in action, to be able to see him, to be able to physically give him a hug and tell him in person that I'm glad that he's doing well, and
Yeah.
seems like he is back in as perfect condition as he can be, is really, really heartwarming. And just as from one caster to another, getting to hear him and Dez cast that match earlier today, Koi versus G2, it was quite a treat. That said, round number 2 underway. It's a downstairs defense in the basement, not on that main floor. Main breach already opened up in the first 45 seconds. Not bad timing for MNM, but if you look on the side of Wolves, outside of a single mute jammer, not much denial for them to contend with. It's entirely possible that P4 has put most of those jammers somewhere else, as a Thatcher remains on the board, and you also have those pocket EMPs too, so a mute jammer would not be long for this Earth. Solotov throws out a nade, takes some damage in the process.
Not just that, but Wolves are very much actively roaming on this Chalet basement defense, right? There are 3 members that are not on the bomb side itself, 2 members holding it down. Bibu, playing that flex player, is playing the in-between role, half on bomb side, half on the roam, and MNM either have to make a push onto the bomb side, make an aggressive play to force these roamers back, or they have to go back upstairs to roam clear. With half the round gone, they don't really have an option to choose between anymore. They have to just hit this side and win their gunfights, because with Wolves having this roam presence, they shouldn't be able to just walk in like you normally could on a Chalet basement attack.
As Tyrant taking some serious damage, as Rise is the only one off of the board at the moment. The first minute took a while. Solotov sees another, and I believe he smacks the booty, Nick. Mowgli goes down as well. MNM, a mirror of what we saw out of Wolves previously. A complete opposite performance, as it's now MNM looking formidable, not losing a single player, though some have taken their lumps. Tyrant is a small gust of wind away from the afterlife. Final 45 seconds. Shinka posted up inside of blue, watching that wine breach. A little bit farther back, you've got Bibu as well. Ton of noise being made by MNM as Nello walks in, gets diffuser in hand. Shinka cannot escape his position, and neither can Bibu. MNM answer back with a flawless round to tie things up.
And really good discipline as well from MNM's side. They get an advantage for once, they hold on to it, and then they just wait for 20 seconds. They drone out the remaining defenders on the map. Okay, they're both on the bomb side. That means that we can just walk on in, start establishing that plant. And now they swing, we get the kills, a bomb goes down, and we can successfully defend that post plant in the 5 versus 2. Worst case scenario. And they did actually do a mixture of both, right? They got that bomb site direct presence, which then forced the roamers to go from the top floor down to that first floor and be a little bit closer to the bomb site. Then MNM walked up the West Main stairs in towards kitchen dining West Main, and they got 2 picks, and that really just snowballed around out of control in their favor. Wolves, they do like to play the game on kind of like 2 different ways. One is the more strategical, okay, the enemy needs to problem solve. That's kind of what these mirror strategies are going to be functioning around. Okay, this is going to be annoying to deal with. It's a lot of disturbance for MNM. They gotta use smoke on its utility to clear it out. The other aspect is also on round number 1. It's the aggression, where you choose an area to just hold and you just fight for your life throughout the entire round. That was Mowgli got that 4K, which, well, he didn't get a single kill in the previous round, so aggression so far seems to work best for Wolves, but it is only the beginning of round number 3. There's still much more to go.
If you look at the way that these 2 teams have played over the last year or so, they've collided on 4 occasions in 3 best-of-1s and 1 best-of-3. All the way back in stage 1 when they were going under LFO, it was MNM to win a squeaker of a matchup 8-7 on Villa. In stage 2, Wolves won on Kafe 7-2. Stage 3, they both went back to Villa, but it was Wolves who persevered this time by a score of 7-2. The EUL finals went for MNM 2-0, a 7-2 on Kafe and a 7-3 on Skyscraper. So, A, these teams like to play Villa and Kafe against each other.
Yes.
And Kafe will be the tiebreaker should we get there, so that'll be fascinating to watch. MNM obviously losing the first bout on Kafe 7-2, but then winning the second one, a follow-up contest 7-2. So they will be in good shape. And the EUL finals were not that long ago, whereas stage 2 feels like an eternity ago. So MNM will clearly have the upper hand just based on recency.
Also, in most matchups, you mentioned the scorelines, it was very one-sided, right? 7-2, 7-1, 7-3 is a single or
blowouts.
Sure.
Most of these matches have been blowouts.
Exactly. I don't think that's to be expected this time around, to be fair. Different story. Just goes through.
These maps could be blowouts. We'll see. Nello has good coverage. They teams trade out. P4 and Nathan Roth on the board. Mowgli and Solotov now get on the board. Mowgli another. Coverage from above as Wolves Rise goes for the run out, guns them all down. Tyrant close enough but makes a ton of noise.
Wow.
He gets shut down by Bibu. The strategy seemed good from MNM. They had the coverage they desired, but Wolves not conceding that top floor, had the angles to play outside of the building, and they clean up very quickly on that post plant, get the diffuser as well to regain the lead.
It looked, at a glance, it looked like MNM just were going to steal that round, because once the execute goes through that, you jump in through the window, no one's not stock mirror, there's no C4s on the plant, no toxic babes, etc. And once the plant successfully goes down, you can win it in a 2 versus 4 as the attackers, you know, from playing outside the building essentially on that post plant position. But Wolves, they retake it so well, they basically give up the bomb side almost voluntarily, which is very uncommon in Rainbow Six Siege. And a statistic that is kind of different when it comes to Wolves is that they have one of the worst statistics when it comes to how often the enemy will plant against them when Wolves are on the defense. And what that means is that teams just really commonly will get the bomb down, but Wolves' success rate as a team obviously is quite successful, both domestically and not that great internationally, but they make it to quarters typically. So despite teams planting against them very frequently, they still win a lot of those retake rounds, which is very uncommon for any team in this game. So who knew that just letting the enemy get what they want, you can actually benefit from that yourself. It's atypical.
You watch all the companion streams that have been going on recently, whether it's Super, whether it's Fresh, whether it's Jesse, and Laxing has been doing a lot of them as well. These companion streams where you have some experienced players go over it, it's always fascinating to see the way that they cut into the retake strats that teams will plan out. Now, all the way back in round number 1, if you can recall, the bomb site was upstairs in this bedroom office, and we got a good look of P4 on Solus. The operator has not come back out since, and might as well not have returned, as P4 dies a very early death, and 45 seconds in, Shinka will join him. Suddenly, with over 2 minutes left in this round, MNM Gaming have a ton of breathing room in a 5v3.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in the game right now, this is a round where statistically it's over, right? Now the members of Wolves, they just have to go absolutely nuclear. This is where you don't think about risk versus reward. You just think about pulling back this round from a lost position in this 3 versus 5. They need to get aggressive now.
It's like they say, it's 3v5 or 5v3, the most dangerous lead in Rainbow Six Siege.
Well, certainly.
This is where you see teams start to get kind of dumb. Things get real stupid, real ignorant, real fast, Nick. Take chances, and you're correct about that. When you are at such a disadvantage, if you try to play safe, you don't have an advantage in terms of numbers, you likely don't have an advantage in terms of gadgetry, you're going to get droned out, and the utility from the opponents will almost certainly be better than yours. You have to go for the swings. You have to go for runouts, jump outs, take gambles, and try to walk away from it. Now, MNM have read into this correctly, as most experienced teams will, and realize that you take 40 seconds, you do discovery, and then you get your chess pieces in the right spots on the board. Solotov commanding those library stairs by Solarium. Mowgli trying to hold off at least 2 separate players. As there goes the Firebolt, softening up Bibu. Mowgli cannot contest against Solotov again, who almost goes for a second. Bibu takes one down, but that's about it. This is a seesaw of a match, and it seems like you might have been correct with your assessment, where you said, I don't think this is going to be a blowout. And so far, with the way these rounds have played, it certainly seems like they are relatively evenly matched.
And to make it even better, it's a best of 3, which means that even if a team ends up having a wonky performance or doesn't exactly show up, whatever the case might be, first game jitters, right? We have at least 1 more map after the first one, possibly 2 more maps to go if we go the distance. There's not really any excuses to be said here where, oh, it was an early match, or oh, you know, we were nervous or whichever. You can work through all these problems in a single best of 3 scenario and just take the first map as your warm-up, say, all right, look at the next 2. But the point system, or the point distribution system rather, you want to get a 2-0 victory as much as possible to get those 4 points on the board to get like ahead of your group. So sacrificing a map for whatever reason or for first game jitters, it's definitely not ideal. But of course, unlike other majors this year, you're not going to outright lose just by losing the very first match.
I'll tell you this much.
Okay.
You don't need to be current undefeated SI coach, Fabian.G2, to know that P4 going 1-4
it's not great.
isn't a recipe for success.
No. Especially when you're playing an active operator like Solace, where you only get real value, well, 2 of the rounds, you only get real value by actually being alive. That's even worse, right? If you're a Rook or a Jaeger, we can put down your utility, and you die early, it's not the end of the world. You can watch cameras and stuff, give information, come up with ideas. When you're playing active like Vigil or Solace, where your gadget has to be actively used throughout the round, it's terrible.
See, the operators that P4 have been playing, they've all been those intel denial operators, or inversely, they can work as intel gatherers. Mozzie's a good example of that. Yeah, he denies information with those pests, but also gathers it if you end up getting one of the drones. The same with Solace. You deny information by being able to precisely plot where your opponents are coming from, but you also gather it by seeing where they come from too. In this case, he'll be back on mute for yet another attempt at Garage. Wolves, completing their cycle through the first 3 rounds, went to bedroom on the top floor, garage on the basement, bar on the middle floor. It looks to be the same so far. Unsuccessful for Wolves, though, on their second bedroom defense. MNM seem to have repeated the performance that we witnessed from them on Garage. Can they do it again on the same bomb site? Well, Rise, no more. Kiba barriers will persist, but all the others that he might generate over the remaining minute and 30 will be no more. First kill goes to MNM yet again.
And MNM are just doing a classic style of fishing right now by putting out the hook, waiting for something to move in the water, and then striking, right? They're getting all this information with the drones. Dugby phone call comes out. They might just get 2 free picks on the round.
Okay.
It's easy, isn't it?
The last couple rounds, Solotov has just been, well, he's been styling. I mean, what else can you say here? High flying, profiling, styling. He had that pick as well on this same bomb site from above, if you remember. When he did see the booty, and then smacked that booty inside of Kitchen. Solotov now getting 2 entry picks. Another 5v3 advantage for Wolves. They had this in the previous round, and I know that we joked that it's probably the least secure lead in Rainbow Six, but MNM did not toss it away.
Now, in this time again, there are only 30 seconds left, but they're taking every single second they can afford. They have 2 smokes on the side of Thermite. That's going to be important throughout this round. There are bulletproof cameras, but there's no ward on the board, and Solotov just keeps finding kill after kill.
Oh my, are we going to witness another flawless? Yes, we are. Suddenly, the action happens fast and furious. That is not the result that Wolves want on this bomb site so far. MNM have not surrendered a single death when they've attacked Garage. That is exceptional. 2 flawless rounds happening on the same bomb site. MNM find themselves in a position where they cannot lose this first half. That was the read from Solotov that I talked about, and yet another, both from similar situations.
Yeah, on the head strap as well. That's just unfortunate timing.
And I will say this, I don't know if it's just the lack of solace, who will come out yet again, P4 1-5. Can he survive past the first minute of action? That's what we'll see. But it honestly does seem like, at the moment, the drone game from MNM has steadily improved after that first round. Yeah, there was a bit of a backward slide in round number 3 on this exact bomb site, but that was because they didn't do what is a typical take of Bar Gaming, right? They hopped in, went for a quick plant, got out. I don't think we're going to see that again as we go back down to Bar and Gaming on the first floor, the last bomb site for Wolves on their defense, and it will mean that we have seen 3 of the 4 bomb sites. No Kitchen.
I think you're correct. I mean, MNM so far, they've attacked... you are correct, in fact. Okay, you are correct because MNM, they've not attacked the same bomb site twice at all throughout this match, right? They go for a complete reverse of what they did the first time. So for Master Bedroom, the first round, they attack Library. It fails. Next time, they go for Trophy instead on the Trophy Solarium side. Complete opposite take. For Basement, well, direct attack presence into the Kitchenette's control. That was the first round. Second round, they go top floor. They roam clear from top down. So since they went for a rush direct attack on Bar, the first time they attacked it, we can safely assume they're going to go for a full-on map clear roam of a sort, like a more typical approach would be to this map. Now they are bringing the same similar type operators, right? The Flores to clear utility, the Zero to gain information, and of course utility and grenades, and they keep finding opening kill after opening kill with little to no effort from outside the building. That is Wolves' biggest issue right now. I'm not sure if they're the ones swinging or getting swung, but seeing as MNM have not entered the building yet, you have to assume Moki was trying to get aggressive in that round and therefore got punished.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's really easy to be an armchair analyst and look at the numbers on the left side of your screen and say, well, I mean, clearly the team's just not performing up to snuff. But it's not even that Shinka doesn't have a kill. It's not even that P4 and Rise combined for 2 kills between them. It's how they've died. Rise will die on roam, P4 will die on roam. They won't really shoot back. And despite the fact that information for Wolves is a major part of their strategy, it doesn't show up. They're not able to capitalize off of what they get. Is that an ineffectiveness with the Solus? I don't know, but now 2 are dead. Both Mowgli and Rise are gone. Yet again, another 5v3, but Bibu's still alive for but a moment. Tyrant takes him out of action. Solotov knows he has the pre-fire. Plenty of ammunition on the last bullet. He'll take P4 down. Shinka unable to find a single kill on that first half. MNM put the first 6 rounds in the books. They take 4 of them. And now I feel like you might have been a little off base when you said this is going to be an even match.
I mean, I'll defend myself, my honor, and say that this is Chalet defense for Wolves, which typically, now this is before Solus, we don't have numbers with Solus open really, Chalet typically is rather attacker favored. And the Solus didn't really get utilized that well as you spoke about, so that new operator didn't really change anything in that regard. But also, Solotov isn't making this a fair matchup, right? He's reading every scenario perfectly. Normally, it's based off his teammates droning for him, but in that round, he walked in through piano with no drones, no information. He still perfectly reads the player who snuck into office, pre-fires it, and takes down the opponent without even taking a single point of damage. It's not really fair, and it's Solotov, who we speak often about from MNM, throughout Stage 2 and Stage 1 of EUL, but there's uses, I believe, in Stage 3, the most recent one, that really was the quote-unquote star player, statistically at least, from this particular team. they're both showing up to great effect. Of course, Solotov more than uses so far, but overall MNM as a team performance are looking quite good so far.
Attackers have discovered the location of a bomb.
Shall we talk about that first half? Let's do it. Tale of the tapes! 6 rounds in the books. Wolves winning rounds 1 and 3. MNM winning rounds 2, 4, 5, and 6. Rounds 2 and 4 for MNM were both on, or rounds 2 and 5. Apologies. Got my numbers mixed up.
It's okay.
Numbers don't lie, but sometimes I do when it comes to those numbers. Both were garage attacks from MNM Gaming. Both were flawless. The bomb site rotation for Wolves, bedroom up on the top floor, into garage in the basement, and bar on the main floor. There was no kitchen defense that we saw. MNM getting the diffuser down a couple of times, and Wolves only having a single round with an uncontested first blood, and that was all the way back in round number 1. There was a trade in round 3. Other than that, MNM starting things off with an entry kill, most of them in the column of Solotov.
Certainly did.
9 kills, by the way.
9 kills, by the way. And 9 and 2 is a pretty good stat line to have here. And I mean, this is gonna, as we kind of see, like, you know, give confidence throughout this defending half. And that's something that you need, because to successfully defend Chalet, the easiest, if you will, is to hold off your opponent's entry points aggressively and stall for as much time as possible. Solotov, he's doing just that.
For what it's worth, Solotov has 9 kills. All of Wolves combined have 12, make that 13. Bibu walks in and actually takes out Solotov, who got a kill onto Mowgli. First blood still technically goes to MNM, but it is a trade.
Yeah.
I would call it a trade.
I'll call it a trade. It was responding pretty quickly. They cut him off guard. He couldn't run back anywhere. And it's also a worthy trade for Wolves, because they shut down the most, you know, efficient fracker from the side of MNM, and they gain a bit of map control now, a bit of breathing, if you will. Now, this is a basement attack, so they gotta clear much more of the map so far, and MNM, they're holding on for as long as they can.
Nello retreats back down to the basement as we hit the halfway point of the first round of MNM Gaming's defense, 7th round overall. You've lost the Yana, and you've also lost the best gunner for Wolves.
Yeah.
But you've also lost the Oryx and the best gunner from MNM. So, I mean, in that sense, it's a wash in terms of ability, though I would say that Solotov has easily been the best person in this lobby. Oryx is able to move around the map very quickly, and on a bomb site like we see right now, which is garage down in the basement, if you want to be able to retake that top floor very quickly and be a thorn in the side of Wolves, that's the operator that's going to be able to do it. It'll hurt that MNM doesn't have him available.
No, then they do have lobby control for any sort of verticality that can be done by Wolves because of that mirror window inside of dining. It means Wolves are able to blue stairs attack with main breach.
There's a flash that goes out. Multiple flashes go out. P4 walks in, removes the head of Uzis. He's got control of the bomb site. Down goes Shinka. MNM rebuffing this attack. Nello's still on the stairs. And he wipes them all out. MNM seem to be on even footing with Wolves, but they persevere in the end. And I don't know if it was Wolves just having a general lack of knowledge as to where those off-site players were, playing close enough to the bomb site, but technically not in it. And MNM will stretch their lead. They're now just 2 rounds away from putting Chalet in the books. This is their map, to be fair.
Yeah.
Wolves
And they're really good at it, too, like historically, that is.
Wolves will take a timeout, by the way. I think this is an appropriate time to do so. At least you got to see what the first part of the first or second half looked like.
Yeah, I mean, it's now or never, right? Because if you lose the next following round or any round of the next, like, 5 or so, you'll be forced into overtime in a best-case scenario. You want to avoid that. I will say for that last round that we just saw in the basement attack for Wolves, they made the right call because they couldn't roam clear in time, didn't have enough map presence. They knew there was one person top floor, one person top dining with that mirror window. So 1 minute to deal with all of that map control, not doable. So they go for the most optimal play that isn't the best execute, blue stairs, main breach, fireplace stairs, and they basically trade 1 for 1, which isn't the best case scenario for them. They kind of swoop around the bomb side, they get in deep, but they don't get that initial control when Nelo was playing fireplace stairs. So Nelo, really being a pillar in the middle of it all, brought the round back with that double kill towards the end of the round. And Wolves, they can't really get any control that they want so far. And it really comes down to opening kills in most of these scenarios. If Wolves can get a shutdown onto Solotov and they get the opening kill, that can really change the tides around for them. Solotov is the only, I would say, super proactive, super aggressive player from the side of MNM who's actively fighting Wolves on the entry. So if he either stops doing that by getting shut down frequently enough, or if he just gets shut down period on the opening kill, then Wolves can do so much more with their time. And last round it was 1-for-1 trade, but Solotov did manage to eat away 1 minute and 20 seconds of the round, so even though he died, he still got a ton of value. Okay, just do that.
10 seconds into the round, and not long into his tenure on MNM Gaming. Nathan is taken out, running by a window. I believe it was Doki in the G2 Koi matchup who made some comment, Nick, about, you know, next person to get spawn peeked is a loser or something like that.
Yep.
I mean, it technically wasn't a spawn peek. I don't think Nafe was contesting that.
Nafe was trying to run away.
I think
you didn't want any of that.
He was trying to escape. And you know what that is? That's the second opening duel won by Wolves in this matchup. All the way back in round number 1 is how far you have to go to see the last time it happened. MNM holding aggressively above this Bar Gaming defense on the main floor.
So now we can talk that statistically Wolves, they got what they wanted and what they needed, right? They have half the map, or about a third of the map in full control of theirs. With 1 minute into the round, opening kill, Nafe, Lesion, active gadget, you know, they charge up throughout the round, has to put them down. Really good value here. But the most difficult part of this entire attack is what you're looking at right now. Clearing out the top blue stairs and chimney position, where the likes of Solotov and Uses will be playing to actively hold them away from achieving their goal. Now you have utility, flashbangs, 1 grenade left, Sophia soft breaches as well. So from the side of Wolves, they have every single tool they could possibly imagine, but they have to execute it correctly for this to work.
Still posted up inside of Library. Solotov watching ever so intently, but nobody from Wolves will give him an inch. Tyrant not too far away, playing at Chimney. Kiba barriers providing a good amount of protection to conceal him from the enemy. Down goes Nilo. MNM suffering yet another casualty.
A minute to go. Uses trying to maybe aggressive on the blue stairs, has to look for something. We speak about this. The 3v5, this is where things have to get aggressive or things will fall apart.
First kill for MNM in this round on the board. They are so close to match point, but they'll need to find a couple more kills. 4, in fact, in order to make it happen. 3, make that 2. Uses just guns down Shinka and Rise. Neither bother to look up. Now it's Mowgli's turn. Can he confront that high rate of fire in the Vector? Right now playing off the deployable shield. They'll flash out, but he's the victim of the flashes. Uses still tucked into Chimney. Keep in mind, Solotov is there. I don't know if they have the location of the Frost. Tyrant now descending the stairs. Mowgli with diffuser in hand going down. 20 seconds left. P4 covering through the hatch. He's the only set of eyes. He gets Solotov on the drop, but they know where he is. The jig is up. Timer will continue to run. Mowgli playing behind the bar. Impact nades go in. Mowgli jumps up. Uses another kill. He's been phenomenal so far. Now it's P4 to grab Uses. Tyrant will need to clutch out with diffuser down, but it's an escape from P4 back upstairs. Timer continuing to tick away. Does Tyrant have information? P4 back down the stairs. This is a game of cat and mouse at this point. Neither seem to be able to find each other, but Tyrant making a ton of noise drops, and P4 seals the deal, and no comeback from MNM will be had. A very impressive performance in the post plant by Wolves.
Yeah, it's not a clean round whatsoever, and a big blunder then amidst the round where Uses would enabled, or allowed rather, that double kill from the verticality above. But the 2 versus 3 was played beautifully. I assume that Wolves had information on the lobby side fireplace because no one was covering it. Mowgli was covering the hatch drop from bar, from library instead. Got that initial kill, made it into a 2v2. But P4, playing the 1 versus 1, not even having to use his mouse at all, doesn't even have to fire a single bullet. He baits the run up towards top floor for post plant, then walks back down the blue stairs. And the read, it's really good from MNM because they challenged it, but because the hatch up above inside a small box library was reinforced, that means that if the defender goes up, there's no easy way down besides the library hatch, which is not ideal because you're so far off the diffuser and you're going to be dropping into a less than ideal situation. So wonderfully played strategically from Wolves, but the mid round, we need to work on it. And with MNM choosing the dining kitchen bomb site, we have now seen all 4 bomb sites being played out, as Wolves themselves did not opt to go for this bomb site a singular time on their first 6 defensive rounds.
I always want to call you out when you say we need to do this. I know that you're speaking on behalf of the team, but I always want to say, like, you don't play. Anyway,
I'm engaged watching.
No, you
We
don't.
need
You're not on the
forward.
team.
You know that
Are
you
you
know
aware of that?
you know that meme where it's like you have like a coach, like a social media manager person or whatever, and like they like celebrate the team. They're like, "You're not in the team, bro." You know, it's one of those. It's like you think you're so cool, you're involved, but it's like you're not even in the team, man. I guess that's me.
Let him know.
Let him know.
You let him know. Yeah, tell him.
I think if I asked
your
Wolves, I could be like an imaginary member of their team. I think they would accept me, actually. Because Shinka and I, we're tight. We're gonna jersey swap. You know that? Who are you jersey swapping with, Parker? Who are you tight with?
So,
Nobody?
it's a hell of a lot of copium that you're
It's not copium.
that you're sucking on there, my friend.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'd play for Wolves. Sure thing, man.
You're not gonna answer my question. Who are you gonna jersey swap with?
I'm about to become the starting point
Do
guard.
you even
for
have a
the Toronto
jersey?
Raptors.
Oh, that's right. You don't have a jersey. You're just a caster.
That's all you are now, too. Rise, dropping the Candelas, tossed on in. It's a Solarian take, but MNM are aware of this. Wolves going for broke.
What?
MNM have pushed them back fully, and it was Rise outside. Look at his face. He knows it. There was that look of total and utter defeat. Not gonna happen. Not even a single kill. MNM, their 3rd flawless round. Diffuser surrendered by that window and trophy. And MNM Gaming moved to match point. A valiant effort
Yeah.
from Wolves. I liked it. We saw the same style of that risky, incredibly quick, get in, fight your way out play from MNM earlier in the matchup. Wolves tried their hand at it. It did not work. And that's a hell of a time to do it, frankly.
Yeah, I mean, I think honestly at this point it shows that Wolves are still in this mentally. They're allowing themselves and being okay with taking these high-risk situations despite being down pretty badly here. And you spoke about Rise's facial expression. I mean, it sucks to be that person who has to be ying on a winter repel, not even in the fray of the battle, right? You're just chalking in your Candelas to blind the opponent, create some chaos, and hope that your team succeeds in the mission at hand. All 4 members die, it's not even close, and you have to just be like, well, I guess it's my turn to die now. You walk towards the nearest entrance to the building, and immediately you die too, and it's a flawless loss. It is mentally a frustrating and difficult thing to deal with, and it is a best of 3. Wolves do have 2 more maps to fight on, but this is not the Chalet nor the opening showcasing that they wanted from this event.
So the first kitchen defense that we saw as
Yes, it was.
well, and it ends up in catastrophe. And now with the matchup on the line, it's
Oh,
Spawn
no.
Peak City, baby,
No.
and Usis, newly elected mayor. Down goes P4. Solotov also looking for a spawn peak, but could not find one. Wolves will be quick to open up the breach. There goes the exothermic charge, but all that said, you've lost your buck. What secondary gadget goes down with him? EE1D expended to try and catch Solotov. Rise cannot connect. Solotov relocates, and no way. No way he's going to try this.
It's a madman.
Oh no. Oh no. No, 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 no. But Solotov still
Squeeze.
wins it. A defeating performance for Rise. Wolves realize now MNM in that very familiar spot that Wolves have been unable to overcome before, which is the 5v3 that we've seen about 4 times so far in this map, Nick.
Yeah. I mean, P4, rough time here. They note that the buff from P4 did not have the secondary heartbeat gadget, so they don't lose that, but they do lose Mowgli as well. So it's 2 versus 5 now for Bibu and Shinga trying to clutch it up to go further into Chalet.
Shinka might end his very first map here at SI 2023 without a single kill. It would be quite defeating and not good for the mental of this team. A minute and a half to go. This round all but over at this point, barring a miracle for Wolves. You want to build suspense, but you also want to be a little bit honest. And at this point, honesty would suggest that Wolves have one hell of a job ahead of them. And MNM showing excellent patience. Suppressors will make it quieter, but you'll still hear the gun.
Yeah, I mean, there's no drones for Wolves either. We're just walking around with Shinga and Bibu looking for kills, and MNM, they're not handing it to them. They're playing it patiently. as they should.
Tracers go over the head of Shinka, but a bit of a delay onto the Legion of Nello. Cannot connect. Not even a single point of damage done to Nello, actually. The only thing that really helped Wolves was that they had an abundance of time, but Tyrant will ensure that Shinka walks out of this matchup without a single kill. 3 flawless rounds so far, a 4th flawless within the grasps of MNM, and well, they close their fingers around it. 7-3 on their map to take a 1-0 lead in the series. MNM absolutely stomping Wolves with a great team effort.
Yeah, I mean, beautiful bait there did as well by Nello. He ran past the angle, and when he was shot at, well, that's when Ty went for the flank there. MNM looks like the better team playing together, and honestly, it's a good look for them. I think a lot of teams, they are doubting them for this event and favoring Wolves in this matchup. But MNM, they're proving those haters wrong.
I mean, it was MNM in the EUL finals
It
just
was.
a couple months ago.
It was.
Toppled Wolves 7-2 and 7-3. And it's yet another 7-3. Wolves have some work to be done before we go to Clubhouse in just a couple minutes for map number 2. We'll see you in a sec.
I'm Nicholas Morton, but you know me as Pingu. I'm a 2-time Rainbow Six Siege World Champion and former top Rainbow Six Siege player in Pro League. Welcome to my Siege Ranked Bootcamp. We're talking 20 seconds left on the clock, you got the diffuser in hand, what do? Play the way that you're comfortable with, because you have confidence when you're in this position, that is when you're gonna be at your very best. Good luck.
What a dominant performance by MNM Gaming in map number 1. It was their map, to be fair, but Chalet seemed to be over almost as quickly as it started. And in the trend of what we've come to know from these two teams, Nick, 7-2, 7-2, 7-2, 7-3, and now 7-3. Those are the score lines of the last 5 maps that these teams have played against one another. Now we go to Clubhouse. This is Wolves' map. Before we get there, what led to the 7-3
Oh boy.
in favor of MNM?
I mean, individual performance definitely played a factor. We see that in the highlight reel right here. Solotov pretty much stole the show for 2, if not 3 rounds on Chalet. This right here, 2 wallbangs back-to-back in the same round. This round is over, right? Your 5 versus 3 round is flawless in their favor. And that really is the problem. MNM, they won, what, 4 rounds in a flawless manner? That should not happen, period. So, individual performance, Wolves did not show up. Now this is Chalet. It's a aggressive map where you have to try and fight your way throughout, especially when you're the attacking side to get map control. But Clubhouse is very much opposite. You can force kills and force good positions by strategically picking apart the map, right? Breaching the right walls in the right order, etc. and kind of going through your ABCs. So I do think that when it's going to come down to how these teams will function on Chalet versus Clubhouse, is going to be rather different than one another.
Now, I'm going to be the guy who's less analytical than you and point to the 2 things on my screen that
I see
are
them.
most glaringly obvious.
I see them.
Shinka going 0-9 and Rise going 1-8. I think for somebody like Shinka, it's more excusable. Yeah. I don't think going 0-9 in an SI group stage match is excusable ever, frankly. It's a terrible performance. But for somebody like Shinka, who plays support-oriented roles, is on drone a lot on attack, is using gadgetry and utility to enable his teammates, 0-9 doesn't show the full story. But somebody like Rise, who tends to be on more aggressive roles, who tends to be closer to the front lines of battle, while still using utility and still helping his team, going only a single kill, dropping only a single kill, 1-8, not great. And I think that's where the spotlight needs to be. Wolves always seem to succeed when Rise plays well.
That's actually true.
It doesn't matter what the rest of his team does. I've seen players on that team also drop breadsticks, drop donuts, but if Rise and Bibu or Mowgli are performing well, sometimes that's enough. But when Rise doesn't do well, the team almost never succeeds. And if that level of gameplay comes out of Rise on Clubhouse, we're looking at probably a 2-0 for MNM.
I mean, we often see Rise, especially on defense, kind of play in that middle area, the gray line, if you will, between aggression on the roam and then like being the side anchor. So it makes sense that statistically, if Rise isn't having a great time, the teams, his teammates rather, are falling apart before he can really get to act upon it. But Rise in attack, on the other hand, is often finding himself as like a aggressive secondary entry. So I do agree with you that statistically, Rise is the player to look at for that specific element. But I mean, Clubhouse is a different ball game. I think there are different things that Wolves can leverage now. Operator ban-wise, I'm curious to see if they'll follow that same trend of the stable operator bans, or maybe a bit of a target and castle that we saw in Chalet, or if we're going to see something new come out of these teams for this matchup, because these two teams, they know each other quite well.
Well, fearing the information that comes from Yana, we've already got 1 operator banned differentiating from map number 1. It was Nook and Twitch that were banned out in map 1, and this time around it's going to be Yana and Dokkaebi, so completely different attacking operators. A Yana and a Doke removed from play on Clubhouse.
Yeah, I was going to say on Clubhouse. Not a hot breacher ban that we typically see. No Thatcher either. So we're going to see, I mean, the big thing here, key giveaway here, right, is that we're going to be losing a whole set of grenades from the attacking lineup. You're only going to get 1 set now, with Sledge that is, unless you play the Nuke or you go flex onto a glass, for example, etc. And that's just going to change things up a little bit, where we don't often see Nick on Clubhouse because it's not like a big map where you can kind of escape around and sneak your way into the bomb sites necessarily as much as, like, let's say, Bank. So curious to see what secondary grenade operator the attackers will bring from both sides, or if they're just going to stick with a single grenade operator, or as Wolves are showing us, none possibly as well.
Is that WWE background? Is that the Becky Lynch background that says I am the man?
I actually was thinking the same thing, but I don't know for sure.
Because Becky Lynch is the man. I know that Caliber Jacob was overjoyed at the WWE tie-in with The Undertaker and Becky Lynch. Undertaker obviously being Blackbeard, Becky Lynch obviously Big Thorn, but I gotta say, I was quite a fan as well, and I'm glad to see teams doing that. But of course, they both have their own custom operator backgrounds too for their teams. I think it's 40% off right now.
Yes, I believe all esports skins on bundles.
40% off.
And I think it's, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's the first ever actual sale as well, if I'm not mistaken.
I can't remember.
It's the biggest one, I know that for a fact at least, the 40% mark that is.
I think it is the highest, yes. That's
so go copy your skins here, buddy. Something like that.
All right, Clubhouse. Wolves will start on attack. On defense, MNM, and they will run with the Solus themselves. Saw the newest operator added to the game, played by Wolves a number of times on Chalet, but never really is as successful as we would have hoped. Nathan is bringing the ITA shotgun instead of the P90, so imagine Solus is going to play on this basement defense, very similarly to what we see out of a smoke, likely holding somewhere towards the stairs, somewhere towards church, in all of those angles that can be covered by a shotgun at relatively close range. Wolves have already breached the top floor. They will clear from the top down, but it doesn't look like there is an extensive roam from MNM. Mowgli is up there. He gets droned out. Solotov not too far away, but still what appears to be two bodies down in the actual basement and one playing on the middle floor. Rise off to a good start immediately. 1 minute into this round, 1 minute into this map, has tied his kill total from the entire first map. He picks off MNM. Now down goes Uzis. Tyrant will follow. Oh my.
Oh, it's over.
Hello in a 1v5 with 1 minute and 40 seconds to go. Now this is a bit of a change. 4 flawless rounds for MNM on Chalet. Wolves might have their own too. They will come face to face with a shotgun barrel at the bottom of main stairs. Plenty of time for them to be able to open up hatches, floors, gain information. And it looks like Wolves are just going to go in through the other side of the bomb site. Nello contending with one. No way he's able to get a single target. Wolves, a flawless start to their map. They've screwed their head on right. And they're starting off similar to what we saw in map 1.
I mean, that is the best possible way to start this off, because for Wolves going to map number 2 of Clubhouse, it's all about the mental game, right? Getting back into it, gaining confidence, and having a bit of fun. And we can see right now from the player cam, they are indeed having a fair bit of fun just off that single round where, let's say they end up losing that round in the flawless in reverse, that's going to be sad faces, maybe a bit of quietness, etc. And that can be really hard to bounce back from, where MNM, they have the momentum going to Clubhouse. They're feeling good, they're feeling confident. You saw it, Solotov shut down and lost his opening gunfight against Rise, and it was full speed ahead the moment that kill went through. There's really good aggression and confidence shown by Wolves, despite having a bad Chalet game.
For those of you who are just tuning in, this is Group B. You might wonder who else is in this group.
Oh.
Well, the team that has the day off, as far as I'm aware, is Direwolves. They have a bye today. Team Liquid and Sonics are facing each other over on our sister channel, twitch.tv/Rainbow6Bravo. If you're rewatching this, and the VOD should be up shortly after the conclusion of this matchup due to the staggered start times of the 2 streams. They are still on map 1. They are quite a ways behind us. I think it's like 15 to 20 minutes behind, give or take, which can amount from anywhere from 3 to 5 rounds, depending on how teams play and depending on how quick the rounds go by. But we're not going to spoil the ongoing scoreline for you, but just know that it's still in map 1, and it's a close game between Liquid and Sonics. And if you're curious, this is the Sonics team that benched Kansan and picked up Citizen, bringing him over as he Brexited the UK and came to he came to the North American shores. So if you want a first look at that team, you're welcome to. At international competition, you're more than welcome to do that.
Yeah. I'm excited to see how Sonics will progress to this tournament, because I do like seeing Citizen back on a different team, or a new team rather, should I say. MNM, however, they're just holding on. You see 0 roam game towards Master Bedroom, only 1 minute and 10 to the round, and they're just waiting patiently for something to happen. And Mowgli might have pinched a member here. Whether he knows that or not, we'll find out once this drone crosses this doorway They'll know the whereabouts of Nave, and that could be a free pick for Wolves. Or not.
It's one of the slower rounds that we've seen in the matchup between these two teams so far. Usually action comes fast and furious. For legal purposes, that is not a reference to the movie franchise of the same title. Wolves in hot pursuit. Well, it might not be a basement defense, but they understand that at least one player lies down there, and Rise hunting ghosts. Solotov wastes as much time as is humanly possible. 1 minute left. MNM still defending this top floor. They've allowed Wolves free range on the main floor, and the explosives will go off to try and displace those defenders playing in tricky positions.
I like this from Solotov, you know, because he's the Solus, he can keep on flanking main stairs, always know there's a drone on him or not. Always going to be a threat. That means the Wolves are on a timer right now. If they wait too long, they will get flanked. They have only 2 drones left. Make that one. They have to act in the next 20 minutes.
But they can't get in through the breach. God. Mowgli, the very first kill, answered back by Nathan. P4 down for the P4 takes down Nello. He's down for the count. Rise goes down as well. Both these teams trading blows, 3-3, staying power from MNM, as there's a Doc still on the board and all 3 stim pistols still there to bring him back to life. Meanwhile, Shinka's in the middle of the bomb site, both bomb sites in fact. He's got diffuser in hand, but doesn't seem to be comfortable as to where he wants to plant. Final 10 seconds. We are about to hit the point of no return for Shinka, as now he loses another member of his team. He'll engage instead, 5 seconds left. Diffuser in hand, down goes at what could have been an impact, and it's Solotov to finish the deal. The timer would have given them the win, even though they got all the kills at the last second. Either way, MNM persevere, and just like in map number 1, the second round goes in favor of MNM, and it's a tie game.
Could be a familiar story being showcased here, and that particular round that we just saw, it really explains the strengths of an operator like Solotov was playing on the Solids rather. You're playing basement, you can flank the main stairs, kill 3-4 flank drones at various times, then you run down all the way through basement, come up the blue stairs, kill another flank, get a kill, and now because Solids has cleared down the stock area below the bomb site, you can now deny anybody from planting in most positions on the cache bomb site itself. That's why you saw Wolves kind of struggle with where do we plant. Shinka running back and forth. He recognized he has to plant on the green box table itself because otherwise Solids with the impact grenade will take him out immediately. But the issue is Wolves never cleared out the dock on the catwalk rafters of Garage, so because the wall is open between the bomb sites, if you plant on the green table, you can get seen from Garage. So there's no safety net whatsoever for Wolves, and a bit of a missed opportunity for them to really capture that round. It's a great punish by, well, we can argue, the star player of this best of 3 so far in Solotov. Really finding value time and time again. Playing an active Solus as well is something that I think that every team should look towards.
I'm glad you pointed that out, because while it is low-hanging fruit to look at the kills that somebody has, he also wasted how much time in that previous round and consistently lives in the back of the minds of Wolves. And when it's a 3v3, and one of those 3 that you're facing off against is somewhere on the map, you have no idea, there's 15 seconds left. Wolves have to pull off a plant in 15 seconds with no dedicated flank watch because somebody has to be watching the diffuser go down. And then there's 2 other players on MNM who can do some serious damage to you. Solotov has not just wasted time, but also put Wolves in a very tough position. And that's something that doesn't show up on a scoreboard, but it's still something that is huge value for the team.
And it's the same way we saw in the very first round. I think it was Nave playing the Solids. He was playing very passive on the main stairs, kind of telling MNM where the drones were coming from on the attack, but couldn't do anything about it. When Solotov plays the Solids, he is actively where the drones are coming from to shut them down immediately and then run away. And it's always, you know, killing one drone, fall back one room. And because you have such precise information as Solids, you should be in the front of the round to utilize that as early as possible. It's another slow round for Wolves. They're battling against the kite close here from Nave. Now, they do have Thatch available, but you have to double EMP each hatch. And if you don't, you're gonna get tricked. And if you don't use any, you're also gonna... Oh, that was too close. That was way too close.
Nate was off by 1 millisecond, losing the Electric Claw and also losing the hatch in the process. P4 tastefully applying those X-Kairos charges, and only 2 of them go off. There go yet 2 more, but the Electric Claw actually works this time. A look of confusion will be on his face. The EMP goes off, the 2x Kairos go in. That should be more than enough, and barring a Nitro Cell below Rise, that's full kitchen control for Wolves with just under a minute to go.
Pace-wise or pacing-wise, it's not the worst, situation. With 45 seconds, you can execute, but you have to act fast. Wolves are looking to do just that.
Look at the hatch, Rise fishing for kills, diffuser going down. Nathan needs to throw the Nitro Cell. Shinka in the midst of the toxic gas, just breathing it all in. Almost all of his HP gone, and instead he'll engage with the Kiba barrier and the Azami of Tyrant playing behind him. All 10 players still up, but they will start to drop. Shinka, the first casualty. P4 follows. Rise on the hatch. He'll need to drop now to retrieve the diffuser, and he manages to do so successfully. But his team is being winnowed down. Uzis, the first one from MNM to die, but now it's Mowgli in a 1v4, and he just doesn't have enough bullets. MNM stitched 2 together to take the lead on Clubhouse.
Typically, that exact attack from Wolves would actually work out in favor of the attackers, but one small thing is different now than what it was like 8 months ago or 12 months ago. Asami changes every single thing you know about Rainbow Six Siege fundamentally as you know it. If Asami doesn't have the keeper barriers on the AK's position where she was playing, well, that entire round could be over for the attackers. You get down that plant successfully because the Toxic Babe was only hitting the default position. The C4 can't reach deep into the bomb site because the C4 member is playing third box, which is so far away, you can't reach. That means that if the keeper barriers couldn't keep the members of MNM alive in that crucial AK's position, Shinka can comfortably start establishing a plant because there's no cover for them to swing with. But Asami is an operator. Nello was holding on to those keeper barriers and it allowed his team to therefore swing out aggressively and establish a counter, execute rather, on towards Wolves. It's looking good for them. And again, the grenade utility is so scarce. And for pretty much every single of these rounds so far, Wolves are running 0 grenades because of that Iana ban. Normally it's Mowgli, who typically plays Iana for the side of Wolves. He's on Ash duty pretty much every single round so far. And sure, you do have soft breach destruction, but the ass breaches are not going to get your kills. They're not going to shut down vital positions, but they can take out utility. So you can achieve a similar goal, but not the exact one that you might be looking for.
Exothermic charge going off quickly. A new bomb site for the defense of MNM, likely because Cash and Church have been locked down. Not uncommon on this map to see a bar stage defense on the first floor. Maybe not as common in EU as it does tend to be in North America, maybe, question mark, but up to Jim they will go. This is often known as the tertiary bomb site, the one that teams like to go to the least, as it, in terms of historical win rate, does skew towards the attackers. And, well, it's a problem with that first Selma. Does not go off successfully, but windows get opened up. That one might have actually been shot. First kill goes to MNM. Mowgli down, P4 now down as well. The young guns that were picked up by Wolves are just not finding their stride in this matchup. Mowgli continues to perform, but that's about it. Nice shot from Bibu. Numbers not equalized, but getting a little bit closer as MNM now loses their first.
Yeah, you can argue a bit of a questionable swing there from Solotov because that is arguably not when you want to, apply pressure onto your opponents because they had a really stable foundation. Losing one member is not the end of the world, of course. It's still a 3 versus 4 in favor of MNM. But things are slowly progressing now for Wolves because they're struggling to find openings. So if MNM are giving it to them, that might just be what they need to find success in one of these upcoming rounds, or perhaps in this one in particular.
Sorry, didn't Frost get nerfed?
Technically?
And yet we still see Frost's fragging out. Isn't that crazy?
Almost like her
really makes you think. Down goes Nello. The zombie no more, but with a minute left, most keeper barriers should be there. And out. Tyrant now in a rough spot. Wolves have clawed this one back, and Rise is just in. Hello! There's another player right there as he uses. He didn't expect there to be 2 of them. Instead, now Uzis has multiple targets, but it's a secondary shotgun, one of whom is down. It's the ace. It's Bibu in a 1v2. Not really retrievable. He gets splattered by Uzis with the side shotgun. We spoke of the Frost, and boy, the Frost did ever appear. 3 in a row for MNM now. It was a confident start to Clubhouse by Wolves, but that confidence seems to have evaporated.
Yeah, and that's even Solotov peeking aggressively, handing that kill to Bebo for free early in the round, so it could have been even more in favor of MNM rather having one more member alive for that late round stage. I mean, I will say Nave rotating downstairs with that C4, basically saving uses on the Frost, beautifully executed with information regarding the timing of when to pop that C4 itself. I mean, Frost sure did arguably get a little bit of a nerf, but still gets that to those shields, still get those Frost mats, which statistically, I think there's a couple years back now, but the official Rainbow Six Twitter account, they made a blog post about the efficiency of certain operators. And funny enough, Frost's success rate with like how often enemies end up in her trap was actually higher the higher rank you went into. So if you're a Diamond player, you have a higher chance of running into a Frost trap than if you're a Silver player, for example. And if we were to apply that logic all the way up the ladder, then Pro League would be where she is the most successful. And you'd always say, but how do Pro players get hit by traps, you know, Capcom traps, Legion mines, and Frost traps? There's a lot happening in these rounds, right? Whether you're playing ranked, casual, or Pro League, there's people communicating, drawing information, you're nervous, sounds, etc. It is very easy to miss one very tiny detail, and that tiny detail might just get you killed.
Hold on a second here, Nick. Solotov is in the meat locker down below.
He's cooking.
Time to ring some ears. Look out.
Food spoiled, unfortunately. Oh, Rise will come back. Solotov might be able to see this on his gadget, and he gets spotted inside a kitchen, a tough spot, but impacts will allow him safe passage out. He hits the hatch, and he's down into the basement. Again, Rise and Solotov will do the dance down on the beach. As Solotov, who wasted so much time last time around.
Yeah, I mean, you see it again, right? He gets one drone, pops the hatch, drops down, and just keeps on, you know, keeping wolves guessing. Where is this man? Where is he gonna flank? And now he can come up any staircase. And because he's Solace, he can see all the drones, if there are any active, shut them down, or just kind of slither on through unseen, undetected. C4 misses. Nice try.
It was a good read. I mean, there were two players,
yeah,
wolves out there, but with the double windows open, it might have just been a missed opportunity or a missed call based on sound.
Now, the issue for Wolves now is going to be around the bandit trick of Nello. They do have EMPs and, of course, Ash verticality with the Buck too. So it's a bit of a dance now. Nello has to choose between the double wall of CCTV main breach and the single wall of construction. Right now, it sounds like something's getting opened up. I'm not sure that's garage, it's construction being attempted, I can't quite tell. But something is being opened up. It is construction. Okay, there we go. So Nello is just gonna sacrifice that area of the map and not care, just stick to his double breach instead. That's where their priority lies.
And Nello died in that position last time around, but the one thing that was a bit of a saving grace for MNM was that Selmas didn't work as effectively as they wanted. There was that thin line that prevented them from getting out. Nello, in the old-fashioned bandit trick, it will work, and he fights from the same position. Bibu takes down Solotov. First pick goes in favor of Wolves, but it's answered back quickly. Uses with one. Mowgli, yet another. MNM and Wolves coming to blows very fast, and they are trading out. To a 3v3 we go. Tyrant in this position has two targets lined up. Lets one go right through his fingers, and the last two remaining of Wolves are inside of Cash. Nello narrows the number down to one, and it was Rise involved in what could have been the first altercation down by Kitchen as the last man standing of Wolves. Both Nathan and Nello so low on HP that Rise could very easily pull this one off, but there's still those stim pistols in the pocket of Tyrant. And he takes matters into his own hands, gets the trade, and it's 4 in a row for MNM. They are just blitzing their way through this matchup.
It's crazy to think that Wolves started off with a flawless victory of the basement roam clear attack, and they looked so dominant in that opening round. And then nothing has looked anything remotely similar as to that in the following 4. I mean, we're making small mistakes here. I keep saying we. Wolves keep making small mistakes, right?
I need to remind everybody that you do not.
I do not play for Wolves.
Do not actively play for any team.
That's also true. I do not actively play for any team. You know, in the previous round, it's the CCTV breach. They try and open up the soft wall between the bombs, and they assume that there's no way Nello is trying to bandage it because he's going to die if he does. So they kind of sloppily assume that, and what happens, Nilo does actually successfully bandit trick the wall, they don't get the breach open up, the round kind of falls apart. Nobody went below, no one contested garage. Garage itself was not breached open for a late flank either, so the catwalk player that is Doc, I believe that's Tyrant in that round, can just hold the walk in, use his Doc stim pistols if he wanted to. He did keep all three in the pocket, and MNM have a stable ground to work with, right? Wolves aren't really making it difficult for MNM to problem solve these things. If Solotov had stayed alive in that round as Solis, they also had Plant and Eye from below. They did successfully deal with that problem, but two more arise in the presence of that disappearing, and Wolves, once again, they come out the loser.
No timeout's been taken so far. Wolves will likely do what they did in map number 1, just wait for the first half to subside. And then when we go into the second half, that's when you will call the timeout. And I mean, there's obviously strategy here. Lilun is an experienced coach. You've also got Helby backing her up as an analyst and secondary coach, and also looks great in a pair of leggings. But that's neither here nor there when it comes to coaching, or maybe it does. Maybe it provides the confidence that his team needs when they can see him wearing those, though those team secret days are long gone.
They are long gone, yeah.
Either way, Lilun does not call the timeout and we'll wait till the second half. Now, if you are in this position, let's say you're a coach, I don't know, let's call you Fabian.
Okay.
If you were in this position,
Yeah.
would you call a timeout now, or would you do what it seems like Wolves would do, which is wait until the second half?
I would wait till the second half because you can take a timeout now, talk about your next one attacking round, and the problems that you've already attacked before, which, you know, did work out once, didn't work out the second, and just really talk about your defenses when you get there, right? Because Clubhouse also is a strategical map itself, you can choose different ways to defend, aggressively, passively, work around the EMP economy because stature's open. Also, with Diana being banned out, maybe talk about what do you expect MNM to do when you swap sides, because you have many more rounds to work with once that side swap comes out. You only have one more attacking round. And they have changed things up. Wolves are playing both Nuke and they're playing Ying, more execute operators in the Ying, and of course the frag grenades on Mowgli, which they have been missing in the previous 5 rounds. It's a different look, and it can be the difference maker.
It's assessing exactly where everybody is currently laid out.
It's a quiet round, but it's going to get very noisy very soon because EMPs combined with Ying Candelas means they will go through guaranteed.
First bit of damage being done to Mowgli, the Nook, attempting to get in without MNM catching it. Does not work. Now it's Rise to take some damage. Candelas go in. It's a trade to start things off. P4 walks in with all the confidence in the world, but it's misplaced as MNM just pushes out Wolves, leaving Mowgli to die. He was the last man left, and then he wasn't at all. First half, MNM 5-1 on Wolves map.
Impressive.
Exact same position that you want to be in as you were on the previous map, except MNM's doing it a single round faster.
You're improving so quickly. Again, small...
He'll be back. And in greater numbers.
Again, it's small mistakes and Wolves, right? I mean, we can look at what happened in the execute there. EMPs goes out, denies ADSs, great play from Ying. But Ying, which I believe was P4 in that round, also died with 2 smoke grenades in pocket. And Ying got taken out from the B bomb side chassis, from the opposite bomb side of the entry point itself, because there's no line of sight being denied. If one of those 2 smoke grenades had been spent in that particular area, that grants Ying a free, and everybody else for that matter, a free entry to the bomb site. And then you can utilize these Cadelas who are blinding the members that are close to you. So the smoke denies the far players, the blind denies the close players. You now have a stable entry point. The second reason why that's so important is because the main breach of church wasn't opened up. You had to go through Moto door and just fight your way through it. And, well, if Ying gets shut down and nobody else can see because of the Candelas, no one can follow up on that play, and it all just fell apart. Now Wolves, they're starting basement, no technical timeout taken yet, so they pretty much have to win this round to have any value in their tag timeout, because otherwise it's, you know, it's overtime at best for them.
Now, the one thing that does, I suppose, give some confidence to fans of Wolves is that the first bloods and entry kills have been relatively split down the middle for these teams. A lot of trades coming in, and there have not been the same stumbles for Wolves the moment that a round begins. Now, it's the mid to late round that has been the single biggest issue for Wolves, and you witnessed it in the previous round too. MNM suddenly gets 3 kills before you can even finish blinking. That's not the position that you want to find yourself in. 5-1, first half, Church, Cash, and Jim, the 3 bomb sites that were played. Church played 3 times, Cash twice, Jim once. And it's been MNM for 5 rounds in a row, and Solotov walks right in, and he sends Mowgli to the afterlife. Proximity alarm be damned, cams be damned. That's a pretty strong entry for MNM.
It is, and oh, that's a nice one tap, a little bit of punch, one shot goes out, Nate gets taken down, but Usis follows up with a trade.
Shows you how much damage that DMR does, as it almost kills Usis, takes out over half of his HP with a single shot. Diffuser retrieved now for MNM, as there's 2 DMRs in play, well 1, you saw it on defense.
I mean, P4 could be the hero this round. He has gone unnoticed inside of the club and can flank at any moment. And with 1 minute and 20 seconds to work with, I mean, Shinka and Bibos has to relax on the bomb site, not take any risk, because if 1 member falls, the bomb site cannot be covered. P4 has to get at least 1 kill on the flank, preferably 2, create some chaos, and then they can capitalize off that momentum.
It's crazy, right? Because there's P4 on this late lurk.
Yeah.
He walked in. They should have cleared Clubhouse. They did not.
Ooh.
Evade the drone. It was looking the wrong. I was looking at him the whole time, but you never saw the lights go up. There's 3 bodies present inside of Bar. P4 could catch them quite easily. The only thing working against him is the gun. His hand is not the most reliable for multiple engagements. Slow fire rate, pitter-patter of the UMP. MNM have gotten out of there, though. So the opportunity for P4 might now be lost.
Oh. I mean, if he flanks Kitchen, he has hatch control, can deny most plant positions, and he's done that. This could be huge.
Are they going to try to come back? Yeah, there go the smokes. Tyrant posted up in a position to cut them down. Shinka taking some damage. Your eyes will need to be on P4. He will be the difference maker for this round, and if Wolves want to win, you need something big out of him, especially since he's losing all of his teammates. But there's P4 from above. He can't buy a kill. He needs to go for the drop, and he can't even do that. Series point for MNM as they've won 6 rounds in a row.
They got what they wanted, right? The late flank worked out, baiting the strip position worked out beautifully in favor of Wolves. They even got a 1-for-1 trade, which is like the best case scenario for them. They get Kitchen Hatch retake control. They know there's going to be at least 1, if not 2 members inside a dirt tunnel because they were previously on the hatch. And P4 right here, that was the diffuser carry of uses on the line. Had half HP when the round started with the gunfight, has 1 HP after the whiffs, and then you get shot down. There's like 7 seconds left on the clock. If you take down Uses and Nello behind them, the round might just be over and Wolves get their 2nd round, but instead, it's 1-6. And a bit of a mental disaster, I can imagine, from the side of Wolves, but in particular Shinka. Right? He did not manage to get a single kill in the previous round, and we talk about how numbers they don't tell the full story. It's also a matter of like he plays support, the round is often over before he really gets to get into the building, etc. But if you get 0 kills on the first map, and you're 0-6 on the second map, that is a very tough situation to be in as any player.
5 seconds remaining.
0 kills for Shinka so far. Might be one of the worst performances that we have seen in a best of 3 by a player in recent memory. You know what? My brain is so full from all of the Rainbow Six weird little anecdotes that we've learned over the years.
Okay.
I cannot recall the last time that in a best of 3 at an international event, somebody has dropped 0 kills for both or all 3 maps. And I know that that data's out there somewhere. I also know that the data is out there somewhere, depending on how you pronounce it. See, I like to play both sides of the equation. Yeah. So I always come out on top. But
you are right, though. And I had the same thought. I was like, I feel like this happened somewhat recent, but
I think it might have been Sandbox. I think somebody on Sandbox might have got 0 kills.
That sounds, yeah.
I think somebody on Sandbox in a recent event dropped 0 kills for a best of 3. But I don't want to speak with the most confidence on that. And frankly, it's such an unlikely thing to happen that it's not a stat that I actively track or actively keep in the back of my mind. Either way.
Yeah.
I know that the spotlight on Shinka is going to be quite bright, but it's not just him. This is a team failing.
Absolutely.
We also gave some credibility to Shinka, saying, you know, you play on those support roles. You're not necessarily tasked with getting all of the kills. Solotov walks right in. Bibu decides to re-engage, doesn't know where the Nook is, and MNM find their very first pick. What could be en route to a 2-0.
I mean, look at this. Solotov plays Solace on defense himself. He goes undetected, you know, nobody bothers him. Then he plays the Nuke against the Solace. He says, I'm gonna go basement and just hunt down this operator because I know that if he goes uncontested, he'll be an issue on the flank, on the you know, when we're trying to plant late round for verticality, etc., and shut down so many of our drones. Solotov plays the operator and then perfectly shuts it down. Now, he did have a teammate drone him in, so it's a team effort again, but MNM, they have such a good read on how to play a certain style of siege, but also how to combat it when that round flips on its head. And that's why right now, they are just one step ahead of Wolves, and they're just gonna storm down the bombs at any second, and Solotov's gonna lead the charge.
Oh, and this one is all but over with the crying if they can get a couple picks here, but Wolves are answering right back. They've read into this MNM attack, and they've stopped them in their tracks. But Solotov and Tyrant have sustained serious damage. Solotov knows there's one to his left, but instead switches on over. And after sacrificing Bibu, but now Shinka as well, Solotov tries his best, but can't get it done. Wolves showing some signs of life as they quite literally fight for their lives here in this matchup.
Great start, and then things just went off really quickly. And Wolves, I will say, there are some scenarios that I think they are one of the best teams in the world at, and it's when they're rushing a bomb site on attack. They just have a really good understanding of where to go and how to get there, and also stopping a rush from happening against them, as we saw in this round. They're playing in all the important positions, right? Bathroom player, office has been covered. The only opening that they gave to MNM was the main stairs, but no one really exposed themselves to that area of the map. Therefore, no value was really lost for them either. So Wolves do have a really good understanding when it comes to a particular element, but I don't think MNM is going to be rushing the next 4 rounds in a row and just give Wolves overtime or something. MNM, they have these rounds they can say, let's try this, let's have fun with that, let's just kind of do something else and see if it works. Not for practice purposes, because it's not the place to do such thing, but because you have the freedom in terms of round leverage to just take risks sometimes. And that previous round, I'd argue, they did not need to rush in a 5 versus 4 lead, but they could because they've built such a big lead they can afford to.
The problem with that is what happens after that, right? I feel like a lot of teams can kind of get to that fork in the road where it's like, hey, let's keep the ship steady and just sail a course that we're on and we're going to win.
Yeah.
And there's other times where it's like, you know what, these guys suck, let's blow them out of the water. And you just decide to spawn peek them. This is exactly what we saw at MNM when they were in this same situation on the previous map of Chalet.
Yeah.
And MNM says, let's go for broke, let's get into the bomb site, let's pull our brains out of our skulls, slam them on the desk, it's going to be great fun. Give the people at home something to watch.
True.
But that can turn the tide very quickly. And we've seen teams blow leads because they've gotten really cute when the match is on the line. Now, all that said, the stat that we were tracking has been blown up because Shinka has gotten a kill. So the series will not end with Shinka failing to get on the scoreboard. We'll see if MNM are able to regain their footing. And Shinka was in this very similar spot. We'll be looking for a second kill, playing down in dirt, the soft walls, and the shotgun in the hands of the Goyo functions very similarly to a DMR.
Oh, certainly.
Uh-oh. Does he see anything?
Not a thing. Oh.
He might get it. Still in that position. There you go. Shinka collects kill number 2 on to Nathan, but just like that, MNM sweeping through the rest of Wolves. You know that Shinka is playing inside of dirt. You know he needs to get back to the bomb site. By your numbers, you don't need to be a mathematician to know. That leaves Bibu all alone. Shinka gets back quickly, though. There's late setup for what will be a heavy execute from MNM with 4 of their operators still on the board. They're down their primary hard breach, I was gonna say, but I mean, you got 2 others
like
with
all
you.
of them.
You've got 4 hard breach for MNM. You've just lost Hibana to open up those hatches, but guess what? You got Ace with a Selma charge still in pocket, 2 can openers from Tyrant, that secondary hard breach gadget. And goodness knows how many Nello still has as he's on drones right now.
Yeah, I mean, I would say for Wolves, though, you have 2 C4s that could hit you a kill each, leading back to a 2 versus 2, and time is ticking down. You know, Shinka is on the go. Those canisters will be available to just deny entry points and do damage towards MNM. So time is definitely something that can be played around here. 1 C4 goes out, doesn't net any value, really. No damage being done. Bibu still has his in pocket. MNM with 25 seconds left. They have to push this go button relatively soon.
Nello's got that exothermic, still one more to go. You've got 15 seconds left on the clock, so only the kitchen hatch will be opened up. MNM cannot afford to be a bit too late on this one. Tucked into the corner on pulse spot. One player from Wolves, but now Church is as free as the day is long. Shinka engaging, but there's too many guns looking in his direction. MNM pulverize Wolves with the same scoreline that we are used to seeing. It was a 7-3 on their map of Chalet, and then they upset Wolves on Wolves' map of Clubhouse, 7-2.
Impressive performance, I will say. And they did it on 2 very different maps as well, because the way you play Chalet and play Clubhouse is not the same whatsoever, and they showed both play styles successfully today. And I will say, Solotov really understand the range of Solids and how to play against her made a big difference on both maps, gaining so much value and just having that slight edge overall. So they did not really play the operator to the best of the ability that they can do.
Hot start for MNM, and this was some internal chatter that went on amongst all of the talent as to what the expectations of this matchup would be. Wolves are so highly regarded and tend to do quite well when they compete in Europe, but they've had some struggles internationally, and now in an EU versus EU matchup on an international stage, it's Wolves struggling, and they fail in their conquest to defeat their fellow, I suppose, peers, if you want to call it that. You can't say countrymen, because they all come from different countries. But either way, it's Wolves losing out on a big, big series, and MNM performing so well, and it might be the most impressive performance of a team, dare I say it, so far. That's it for you and I. We're well ahead of schedule. We're keeping to a fixed schedule, so we'll be back with the desk in just a couple minutes. But in the meantime, there's still that Liquid Sonics match going on the other stream. Either way, we'll see you soon.
I'm Nicholas Morton, but you know me as Pingu. I'm a 2-time Rainbow Six Siege World Champion and former top Rainbow Six Siege player in Pro League. Welcome to my Siege Ranked Bootcamp. We're talking 20 seconds left on the clock, you got the diffuser in hand, what do? Play the way that you're comfortable with, because you have confidence when you're in this position. That is when you're gonna be at your very best. Good luck.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Command Center. That was a very quick series, I have to say, and it ended with a few thoughts of us here to give on that matchup. MNM Gaming rolling over the Wolves to get us started here. Say get us started. It's game number 2. We're already going through our day, but thankfully we're not alone here. I'm not alone here on desk. I'm Medic. With me are Mandy and James. And we have to talk about it because this did not look like the Wolves we expected to see in the server. But first, let's talk about MNM, the winners of the series. Impressive performance.
Very much so. It started on Chalet, which, as we know, is one of their best maps. I believe they've only ever lost it once in history, all time, and that was in Jönköping to Cyclops. They have bounced back. I thought maybe that would be the end of the Chalet era for MNM, but we've seen that there's no stopping him. There's no stopping Solotov in particular. That was a dominant map, and I think I personally don't fault Wolves too much for letting it through. Wolves have some decent history on the map. They even beat W7M in the past on Chalet, but I think that they just weren't quite at that level, and they had to be able to bounce back from a loss like that, which definitely did not happen in map 2.
I think the big thing with MNM is that they're a team that likes to play to their strengths. They are super good at what they do, and that's the danger in MNM, especially on a map like Chalet, especially when you have a player like Soltov who's just super good at like inserting himself in the building. Wolves didn't really quite respect that. A lot of their rotations were slow, all of their fall-offs were pretty slow as well, and I think they were punished a lot for it in that series.
All right. Well, so Wolves, some things to look back on and try to save through here. And just to update you, in case you don't really know how the point system works here for the group stage at SI, if you win 2-0, which is exactly what happened with MNM, you get 4 points. So now MNM are up 4 points in their group. We'll be waiting for the Sonics Liquid matchup to see how things go and kind of set things up for a group B. Now, let's talk about maps at least individually here. 7-3-7-2. Talked about, Clubhouse. Things are quite tough. It seemed like there was such massive communication from the Wolves side that they weren't able to properly react to MNM, even though we know they can.
Yeah, this is the real distinction between a team and what a team is capable of and what a team is able to actually pull out on the day. And unfortunately, what my take on the situation is Wolves are like a good Clubhouse team. They actually, had a 2-map winning streak on the map coming into this game. But after Chalet clearly got in their own heads, maybe they were a little bit more confident going into Chalet than perhaps was warranted. And as a result, when they got knocked back, they really struggled to get back up on their feet and run away with it on Clubhouse. Because in my opinion, Clubhouse should have been an open and shut case for Wolves. MNM have a 7-match losing streak on Clubhouse that they have now just broken thanks to what Wolves have given to them on a silver platter. So this should have been Wolves at least pushing to map 3, but I think that they just got a little bit too cocky maybe going into map 1, and as a result weren't able to stay their nerve going into Club.
Yeah, I think for the Clubhouse game, it was pretty interesting. It just felt like MNM had a little bit of a better grip on how that particular Clubhouse game went out. Thatcher and Maverick were both in that series. Both of them weren't banned out. And what that means is that your early game is going to be really weak, right? You're going to have all your walls open pretty quickly. And as a result, you need to focus a little bit more energy into that late game. Every time that Wolves got to that late game, they ran out of drones. They couldn't get info into the site. And it happened time and time again. MNM end up with a 5-1 half off the back of it because they know MNM are going to serve themselves through the mid to late round, play out the execute, and they did it to perfection as well. Lots of Kiva barriers. We saw smoke being used to like the full extent in that map as well. It just felt like MNM had a little bit of a better grip on what the important and advantageous parts of the round were compared to Wolves.
All right, so just as we had before, MNM keep it up, I guess. Do the same thing that you're doing now. We'll see them against Dire Wolves. That'll be in around 20 hours or so tomorrow. But Wolves go up against the Sonics. Now, the game for Sonics and Liquid is not done yet. That's why we're here kind of wrapping things up for our first matchup. If you're looking at the Wolves, you see they have everything together. They have all the tools that can make it happen. What do you think are the last things that they need to fix up to actually move and get some points on the board.
I know, like, you can speculate the map veto picks, whether it was right or not to leave Chalet in. You could speculate really specific, minute details in picking this operator or playing a certain way or using a certain strat. For me, it's really a mental game for Wolves. Like, everyone knows what this team is capable of. They're twice EU World Champions, 3 times if you count the collective 2022 standings. They are capable of being one of the best teams in the world. But they need to get past this mental block that they seem to have every time they come to these big BO3 games. Funnily enough, as we talked about in the pre-desk, MNM tend to have a little bit of that same block, but I think MNM are just comfy in this matchup. The head-to-head between Wolves and MNM, right? Like, everyone kind of agrees, Wolves is the better team, but MNM will consistently beat them.
The weight of expectations really coming down on Wolves. MNM coming in and saying, you know what? Whatever. If we do well, that's great, but we're making it to pretty much every event here, so that's awesome. But then on the other side, Wolves are in the mentality of we have to at least make it to quarterfinals, and maybe anticipating too far ahead before they even get anywhere near the quarters.
Yeah, for me, the big thing that Wolves need to focus on now is just chilling out a little bit and not overstressing or perhaps being too disappointed in themselves. You win some, you lose some. Just go next. Go into everything with a positive mindset. Know what you're capable of. Don't get in your own heads about it. And especially, like, don't pre-write the result of the next map when you lose the first one, because that is, I mean, maybe they would disagree with me, but that is really what I feel like happened here.
That's the BO3 shocker that we talked about with Wolves, is that this is a big struggle. Maybe when they sink from the beginning, they're never able to get themselves out of it.
Yeah, I think it's a big stamina thing, right? Like, a BO3 is it takes a lot more energy. It's a lot more taxing than a best of one would be. I think in general, in this first 2 days, teams are going to be playing to their strengths. You can't really know the map pool for certain of another team. And so whatever map that you pick is probably going to be something that you're comfortable on. Now, MNM, they had the first pick, and it was Chalet, and they're very, very proficient at it, right? So, of course, they're going to push through on that map. It's going to be a long, hard map for Wolves. I think, like Dev said, they had to do a bit of a reset going to Clubhouse if they wanted to bring back the series. And best of threes are taxing. They require a lot of stamina. And I think as a result, by the time that they hit that map too, off the back of what was really tough loss on Chalet, they couldn't quite reel it back in together. Even though it felt like they sort of knew the win conditions for each round, they couldn't get the ball rolling to close out the rounds.
Well, that was our matchup on Stream A, 2-0 for MNM versus Wolves. MNM leave this matchup with 4 points on the board, the first 4 in their group. Now, at the same time, it's Liquid versus Sonics that's happening, and Sonics are leading 1-0. I will leave it at that. You'll have to go and watch it all on the B stream, and actually, once we go off air at the same time, you'll be seeing Sonics and Liquid playing on your screen. So if you want to catch it right now, that's okay, but you can wait like 30 seconds, and you'll be seeing it here on the stream, which is great. So you don't have to go anywhere. You can just get yourself some snacks, get yourselves ready for the continuation of our match. Liquid versus Sonics on the screen for you in just a sec.